What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with yet another video. So today I want to talk about five men who should win the men's Royal Rumble match. Royal Rumble is coming up very very soon, and I wanted to give you guys who I think should potentially be in the running to win the men's Rumble. I'm also gonna do a part two to this, which will be the women's. So be on the lookout for that. But um, but before I before I say the five people, I wanna start with honorable mentions. So one of my honorable mentions is Seth Rollins. Now, Seth Rollins has made it very clear that he wants to find himself get back the world championship, and I think if you really think about it on Raw, with Gunther being the world champion, Seth Rollins is one of the few guys that he has not faced yet, and I'm pretty sure if you want to be honest, when it comes to Gunther, like he has not faced Seth Rollins yet, right? So for one, it'll be something new, fresh, and exciting for those two to do something and stuff like that. And then two, you also are giving the crowd a good match, which is also something good as well. And three, it helps Seth Rollins just because now he's finding himself back in the main event title picture because he hasn't really been in the main event title picture for quite some time after losing the title at WrestleMania last year. So now he's finding himself back in the title picture. So I think this would be a good match for both guys, honestly. And if you want to be honest, when you look at Raw, there isn't really a lot of people that really pose a threat to Gunther and his title reign. So that would be a name that you would definitely have to throw in the hat as potential winners. And if he was to go to SmackDown and face Cody Rhodes, there's a story there too, just because of everything that played out last year. And Seth Rollins, if he were to turn heel, he could, go after Seth Rollins and say like, well, you know, I don't like the fact that I helped you all this time, helped you last year, helped you fight off the bloodline and everything, but yet you decide to end up helping them still. So it'll pretty much be like how the Kevin Owens arc is and stuff like that. So I think that'd probably be something really interesting to see play out on screen. So I would definitely have to put Seth Rollins here. Um, on the list. Now, my other honorable mention is Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, I think, would be a very interesting winner just because he won the Royal Rumble in 2020, and it was a very heartfelt moment. And it was just because, and it's not even just because I was there. It's just the fact that everything he's done, everything that's played out in his career, where he left the WWE, he came back better than ever, and he elevated himself to a new level that people didn't think he would probably reach, and everything like that. And he was able to do that. He was able to push himself up the card, and he became a main eventer. So I think him having all that, but then him winning the title, but not in front of fans. Maybe that's still looming in his mind that I still want to be able to have a legit title run in front of fans. Now, granted, he won the championship last year at WrestleMania 40, but he got cashed in on due to CM Punk and him starting reigniting their feud, and that caused him to lose the championship to Damian Priest, who cashed in Money in the Bank. And then he tried to get the title back. He won the Money in the Bank, but was screwed over in the process and wasn't able to get the championship at Money in the Bank. And then before that, he had an opportunity at Clash of the Castle against Damian, but the ref was knocked down. Him and CM Punk were still going at it. CM Punk came in as the referee, screwed him over, and he has not been able to reclaim that championship. So maybe the idea looming in his mind is not just winning the title, but just having a legit title reign in WWE in 2025. And I really feel like in WWE this year, we are going to see him become a world champion once again, and he's gonna have a legit title reign. Because I think the WWE's are, I think there were reports that it's gonna be a big year for him. And if that is really coming to fruition, there's no better way than to double down on that fact by having him win the Royal Rumble to set up him versus Gunther, which would be a good match, or he faces Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. And if you want to be honest, the thing with Cody Rhodes, his championship reign has been decent, but the problem is there aren't really people that really pose a threat. And a lot of the times when he comes across these guys, they don't pose a threat, and we can on our kind of can. It's a foregone conclusion that we know that WWE is not going to pull the trigger on them beating Cody. But Drew McIntyre, however, is a different story now. This guy can actually do it. Honestly, in my personal opinion, he should be the guy to dethrone Cody Rhodes. And whether that's going to be at WrestleMania or if that's going to be at SummerSlam, it's going to happen. And I feel like it's going to happen this year in 2025. You can quote me on that, and you can come back to the video, and I will tell you I told you so. But those are two of my honorable mentions. Now I'm gonna go on to my number five. My number five to win the men's Royal Rumble is main event Jey Uso. Now we know main event Jey Uso has a WWE World Championship match at Saturday Night Main Event, but and it's a possibility. It's a very small possibility, but if he does win, then I don't think he will be winning the Royal Rumble. But if he doesn't, if he doesn't beat Gunther, this would be a great moment for him. Because you got to think, if we're looking at the landscape of WWE right now, he is one of the top players. Like, his in ring work, it may not be the best to some, but you cannot deny that he gets some of the biggest reactions. His merch sells, and in WWE's eyes, they're going to want to put a lot of stock in the people that get them a lot of revenue for their company. And you cannot deny Jey Uso is one of the biggest draws WWE has. And it made me think that there's a possibility that they could do that. If you go back to Survivor Series and they were having the entrances, you had Jey Uso come out last after CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That I did not think that we're gonna do that. But if you're doing that, that's letting the fans know that okay, well, this guy is a guy that we're probably gonna put a lot of stock into. This is a guy that we're going to want to push. This is a guy that we want to put in the main event scene. And he's won the Intercontinental Championship, and it was a great moment. But could you imagine the crowd's reaction and how they would react if Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble and he main evented WrestleMania and become world champion at WrestleMania? That would be one of the biggest moments that WWE could ever pull off. I'm going to be completely honest, and I would be 100% invested to see how they book Jey Uso going into WrestleMania. Would be totally invested because this would be something really, really special in the sense of they're finally, listening to, for one, they're listening to the fans. Two, Jey Uso is getting his flowers, which is another thing. They're elevating him to the main event level because you got to think he called himself main event Jey Uso. You can't call yourself main event Jey Uso and you're not in the main event title picture and you're not world champion. So for him, he's going to have to double down on everything and back up everything that he's been saying and calling himself and living up to the name main event Jey Uso. And you gotta wonder, will the WWE pull it off? It is a definite possibility because this year's Royal Rumble is probably one of the most unpredictable that it has ever been in quite some time, and I love it because a lot of the times you go into Royal Rumble, it's a foregone conclusion. We know who's gonna win these men's and women's Royal Rumble matches, but this year it's a complete 180. We don't know who can win because there's a plethora of names that they can go through and not be wrong. There's a plethora of names that they can go and pick and go in different routes going into WrestleMania. So I am all for it. But yeah, he is definitely going to be my number five. My number four to win the Royal Rumble is going to be Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, he's made it very clear that he wants that championship back. We know at some point Roman and Cody are going to cross paths again. We know that those two are pretty much destined to have another match. We know those two, at least for Roman's sake, he wants that championship. He wants the power back. He just won the Ula Fala back on Raw on Netflix against Solo Sikoa. So his next step is taking the next step in his arc, and that's trying to reclaim the WWE Championship from Cody. Now, we know it's one. If you look at the feud, the story, and everything like that, it is 1-1. Roman won at WrestleMania 39. Cody won at WrestleMania 40. Who's to say that they don't decide to pull the trigger and have him win the Royal Rumble to set up him at WrestleMania 41? It is the third chapter in their trilogy. This is going to be the conclusion of the trilogy between Roman and Cody. Now, we know Roman is a babyface. Now, this would be interesting just because Roman is technically a babyface and so is Cody. So, what do you do there? Do you have Cody, be the heel of the feud? Do you have him be a little bit more edgy against Roman? The thing is, and I've said it before, with Roman, even though he's being a babyface, but there's nothing that's really changed about his character. The OTC, there's nothing that's really changed with his character. He's still being the Roman Reigns of old, where he wants people to acknowledge him. I want to see something different with them doing this OTC thing. I want to see a different layer of his character that we have not explored yet, to where he might be vulnerable, to where he might be desperate, but not in a bad way. I want to see them amp that up. So maybe that is something that they could do if they were to have him, go after Cody. But I do think it's bound to happen that Cody and Roman are going to cross paths once again this year at some point. What if it's at Royal Rumble? Not even Royal Rumble, but WrestleMania. What if it's at SummerSlam? What if it's at a B level pay per view? We don't know. But I do think in 2025 we are going to see these two cross paths once again. Um, so, and I feel like they're going to have their match. I don't know when it's going to be. Maybe they do it at a Saudi show, just because the Saudi government, they will throw a lot of money just to see this match, and stuff like that. But you can't bet against Roman a lot of the times. I think that's the one thing we can sit here and say about him when he was champion. It was a lot of times where you thought he would lose, but he would end up coming out on top and winning. So it just goes to show we cannot bet against the OTC Roman Reigns. But he is going to be my number 4. My number 3 in this is going to be the final boss, The Rock. So I think The Rock, maybe it doesn't seem like he's going to be part of the Rumble. It doesn't seem like he's going to be part of WrestleMania this year. But what if this is all a ruse? What if this is all a swerve? What if this is all a part of his master plan that he's putting together, and he is going to come out at the Royal Rumble and he's winning? We know there's a lot of story between Rock, Cody. There's some story between him and Roman. So you gotta wonder if there's some different things that could be potentially playing out. Could we see The Rock show up? Absolutely. Now The Rock, he was seen on a few things with him and what was it? On the Raw on Netflix, and it seemed like he was playing a little bit more of a babyface, right? It seemed like he was playing a little bit more of a babyface. It seemed like he was, pretty much being a fan favorite, and it kind of seemed like, what were we doing? Were we taking a step back? Is this not what we're like? People were kind of confused, myself was included. But I think what was going on, I think with them having this Raw on Netflix, they were trying to pan to the crowd. They were trying to, cater to the investors and the crowd or the fans that have not watched in quite some time. It wasn't really meant for the fans who've been watching week after week and look for the story beats and the story progression. It wasn't really a show for us. It was mainly a show for those people, the people who invested in the company or haven't watched in quite some time. And then we seen him, pretty much with Cody backstage, and then they were hugging, and then people were like confused, like, you how is Cody okay with this? The guy tried to take him out and all this and the third. Then he came on NXT and said, um, just he told the fans, shut your mouth and enjoy the ride that The Rock is taking you on. And I feel like this is going to be a road to WrestleMania that we don't see coming. Now, last year we didn't think that The Rock probably would be part of WrestleMania. In all honesty, we seen it, maybe it would have been him and Roman, but it ended up being a tag team, and then it ended up being Roman and Cody at the main event of WrestleMania. But the original plan was going to be The Rock and Roman, but because of the fan reception um, to The Rock and pretty much facing him and Cody giving up his spot, people were not okay with that, so they had to pivot. So now a year later, he's coming back. He's going to want to be probably the champion. We had that segment between those two on the night after WrestleMania 40 where Cody won from Roman, and The Rock sat there and he told him, your story with Roman Reigns is done, but the story between me and you is just beginning. And then he comes out of Bad Blood and he puts up the 3 signal. I'm still trying to figure out what that means. Maybe he's signaling something. Um, I don't know. We will have to see what that means. Maybe he'll explain that if he does get into this feud with Cody or stuff like that. But you also have that story with him and Roman because Roman he has the Ulafala back. And he calls himself the Tribal Chief, but The Rock calls himself the High Chief. So that means in his family he's ranked higher than the Tribal Chief, which is Roman Reigns. Now Roman Reigns might want to be the highest of this entire family, but The Rock is not going to allow that. What happens? You could have him eliminate Roman, and that maybe sets up their match. But maybe there's an opportunity where all 3 of these guys get involved, similar to what happened last year, but it becomes a triple threat. Maybe it's a situation where Roman is eliminated by The Rock. Rock goes on to face Cody, right? Somehow, Roman gets added and it becomes a triple threat at WrestleMania. I think that might be the route that they might go because there's a possibility they might want to do Rock, Roman, Cody at WrestleMania 41 because there was a potential rumor that they were going to go uh pull the trigger on having that happen last year, but they decided to not. Nah, we're gonna pivot. We're gonna do something different. Now, there's other people who want Roman Reigns, so that might play into Roman Reigns not winning, but we will see how that ends up playing out for him. But yeah, number 3, I gotta go with the final boss, The Rock. Now, on to number 2. My number 2 on my list is C is no, not CM Punk. My number 2 on the list is John Cena. John Cena is my number 2 on the list. The reason why I think there's all the possibility in the world that they decide to have John Cena, you know, win the Royal Rumble to face either Cody Rhodes or Gunther to become 17-time world champion. His whole mission is to become 17-time world champion in his final farewell tour, which a lot of people are going to be tuning into because they're going to want to see if he's able to actually win that championship. Is he actually going to be able to complete his story? No pun intended. But my thing is this: the reason why I have him number 2 is because I don't think they're going to have him win. Now, granted, he is on the Royal Rumble. He's going to be in the Royal Rumble. He's going to be at the Elimination Chamber. He's going to be at WrestleMania. What I think the story that they're going to do with John Cena is they're going to have him come so close to winning these moments, but in the grand scheme of things, when it's all said and done, he comes out empty-handed. He comes up short. He comes up short in the Royal Rumble. He makes it to the Final Four. Gets eliminated. He comes down to the Chamber. He's to the Final Two. He gets eliminated. He gets on WrestleMania. He does something else, and he maybe wins there. But then you go to King and Queen of the Ring. He loses there in the finals. He goes into Money in the Bank. He loses there in the finals. They build up the story where it's like we have, as a fan, we're starting to have doubt. Is he actually going to do it? And it makes the moment when he does do it even more special because it pretty much came down to the final second in the hourglass and he was able to do it. I think the story is where he comes up close time and time again, but ultimately cannot get the job done. And this causes John Cena to become more desperate. And maybe this might lead to a heel turn. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would be surprised if it did. He becomes more desperate, and it leads to him becoming a little mad and a little bit upset. I could see them going with the story there, but I would not be surprised if John Cena were to win because the matches that he can have with Gunther could be really good. The match he can have with Cody is really good. And at the time of recording this video, there were rumors that John Cena and Cody Rhodes is the potential Mania match that they want to go with. So I do think there is a possibility that they could go with it. But the reason why I don't think they're going to go with it is because I said they want to go with this. They're probably going to go with the story where he comes up short time and time again, and he wins it later in the year. But he is my number 2. On my number 1, I'm going to go with the Second City saying the best in the world, not Shane McMahon, CM Punk. I think CM Punk is winning the 2025 Royal Rumble. Last year, he was supposed to win, but because of his injury that he had when he took that future shock from Drew McIntyre, it allowed him to get injured, and pretty much they had to pivot to Cody Rhodes, end up winning, so he lost out on his moment. Now, Me, I think he needs to win because it feels like it is a do or die situation for CM Punk. He's been here. He's come up short in the Royal Rumble before he made it to the final two last year. I think he needs to win this. Could you imagine the match that him and because he was the first to enter, right? He also teased a couple months ago he wants Gunther. Gunther, like I said, with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins facing Gunther would be something new, fresh, and exciting because if you look at Raw, a lot of the people he has faced and beaten already. The only two people that he has not really faced is Seth Rollins. Then there is CM Punk. Now, I don't know what Seth Rollins is going to do, but if Seth Rollins not be a factor in this, you could have him, have, have CM Punk win the Royal Rumble, finally getting this moment, completing his quest, the reason why he returned to WWE. His whole quest is he wanted to come back. He wanted to win the Royal Rumble because that is something he has not done yet. He wants to main event WrestleMania. And you also got to think, will that favor that CM Punk talked to Paul Heyman about coming into play at the Royal Rumble? Could that be the favor? Is having him win that Royal Rumble match to set up him and Gunther at WrestleMania? Or could it be him doing the unthinkable? Him winning the Royal Rumble, but not facing Gunther, but switching brands to go over to SmackDown to face Cody Rhodes. Now, that match right there would be really, really good because they teased it in the lead up to WrestleMania last year, and not even on that, but they teased it in the lead up to Royal Rumble last year as well. And then they had that little story going through the Royal Rumble when it came down to those two in the end. And then Punk told Cody, I didn't come back. He told the crowd, I didn't come back to WWE to lose to Dusty's kid. So I think that can, if you play that into the story, it makes the story even more. And if you wanted to have Punk maybe turn heel or be more edgy, you can do that as well. But the only thing with him, I do think if he were to win, he would remain on Raw because I think WWE, they want the biggest names on Raw. You can already see that they're doing that. They have um, Punk over there. They have Seth over there. They got um, Roman probably going to be over there and stuff like that. So you want the biggest people, the biggest names that you can possibly put on your roster on Raw. You could kind of see that they've been doing that for the longest time now. But I do think CM Punk should win the Royal Rumble and should go on to headline WrestleMania 41 this year and become World Heavyweight Champion. But comment down below, let me know, who do you guys think should win the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble? I would love to hear what you have to say in the comment section down below. Road to 600, but the ultimate goal we're trying to get to is 10K by the end of this year, you guys. So let's get to that milestone. I know we could do it as a wrestling community. I know we could do it as a wrestling family as well. So let's make it happen. Super kick that like button. Helps my channel gets pushed across the platform so more people can see what I'm doing over here on YouTube. Superman punch that post notification bell and spear the subscribe button. Takes 3 seconds out of the day. Those 3 things for me helps in progression of my channel as well. But with that being said, hope everybody has a great day, a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.